In this video, we're going to focus on one of the viewers' questions, which is how to update a chart dynamically based on CSV files in Chart.js. Alright, so this is a far more advanced topic. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to create here a chart. And in this chart, we're going to have the button as an upload. We upload a CSV file. And that CSV file contains certain data. So first of all, I want to show you where this question came from. So it was here on one of my other videos on how to change the label based on click in a bar chart in Chart.js. And in this video, if I scroll down here, you can see here Arnab. So a special thank you for Arnab for asking this question. And here is the following what he says. Sir, thank you so much for the video. Could you please help us connecting a CSV file with this code? So in this code he's referring to here, where you have basically a on-click button showing different data. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. So we're going to emulate that one. And then what he says is so that we can make the chart with dynamic data downloaded from system. So he has probably have a system where you can download the Excel files or the CSV files, and then he wants to put it in here and then get the chart displaying it. All right. So to do this, we're going to do two separate parts. We're going to create a chart in Chart.js, and afterwards we're going to create the file itself, or at least not the file itself, but we're going to upload the file. So let me show you here. I'm going to grab a sample file here. Let me double check. Where am I? I have to search for this one. Oh, that's the one. This is my tab. So in this tab here, we're going to work with this similar file here. So basically this will be it. We have it's a very straightforward file. This, if you would have this, we would do here export. Then if we would do here, export it as a CSV file or CSV for Microsoft Excel, one or the other, then you will get that one. So basically that is the one we're going to work on. And if you click here, back here, this is the structure. This structure I already downloaded, and you will find it here. You can see exactly the same structure. ID, revenue, profit, cost. It's all of these data points here, in total of 10 data points of each item. So what we're going to do first, let's build the chart first, because that's the most important one. And then from there on, we're going to connect the chart with a special way to connect them in JavaScript, because JavaScript itself doesn't allow immediately the option for the connection with a CSV file. So first of all, let's build a chart here. So in here, I go to chartjs.org. I'm going to grab this here. This is version 3.4. So in here, paste this. All right. Proper indentations. And then what I want to do, enter. Remove this space here, and I'm going to nest this in here in a div with a div class of chartbox. Very straightforward. Basically, what it does is it contains the items here. So then what I'm going to do here is the following. I want to put in here, or we still need to put in here the style tag that I will cover it later on. We have to put in here the JavaScript library for Chart.js. So I click on getting started, grab this one here, and there we are. Copy this, paste this in here, and then what I will do here, style tag, just quickly, style tag with a special width indication for this. The reason why, to avoid that the canvas or the Chart.js will not scale into infinity. So we say here, dot chart box here with 700 pixels is more than enough. Save this, go back here and refresh. All right, so we've got all of this. What I will do is I will just put in the right structuring here. This is important to remember as well, because this is now where Chart.js is moving towards. So this is the best to use as well. So I want to make sure we have this. So we have setup. We have here the configuration block, and finally we have the render or initialization block or init block. All right. So in here I'm going to copy everything related to data, which is this part here between. Cut it out. In the setup here, I will say constant data equals, and we have here the curly brackets. Paste this here. All right, make sure you have here a semicolon. Once we did this, next part is the config. The config consists of basically the skeleton of Chart.js, which is the type, the data, and the options. Basically these three here. Cut it out. Then we say here constant, and this constant is called config for configuration equals this semicolon here, and paste this. All right, so once we did this here, I'm going to remove this data here because this is a constant here, you can see, so it refers to that one there. And everything else here is sufficient, so we're almost done here. And all right, so I guess that will be it for now. That's it. All right, final one. This one here. Same story. Here we do constant, but the constant here will be my chart, which is eventually the element ID of the canvas. Then we say equal, and then we say new, and the new stands for the constructor. We're going to make a constructor, and the constructor always use a parentheses, no curly braces like here. Remember that this is curly braces, but here now we are using a parentheses. So in here, grab this one here. Only this because Chart.js is intelligent enough to understand this already. It knows that this is related to a canvas, so that's why no need for that anymore. Comma, and then we say here config. So we want to load this and the config. All right, well, we've got everything here. We're done here. Save this now. Our chart should be loaded exactly the same. So no differences, but our structure here is now like the documentation. So the next thing what we need to do is we need to parse it. Basically what we're going to use is we're going to use Parse.js for this. This is very important. Parse is this item here, parse.com. You can use this here, and we're going to use the CDN for this one. What this really does is it converts CSV into JSON or JavaScript object notations, meaning JavaScript doesn't go out of the box or doesn't support out of the box CSV files, meaning that it needs to be converted first before it can read into a JavaScript supported language. So basically this is a different language than this, and what it does is just like, the best term would be a Google Translate. A parse basically means make something readable. So we make it readable for JavaScript, and JSON is readable for JavaScript. So this is what we're doing. Basically, we convert it into that, and from there on we can take it on. We can continue on. So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and we're going to grab here the parse min.js, the latest one, which is 5.3. Click here. You see this here, copy HTML. So I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to paste this in here. So where we can paste it doesn't matter so much. It can be above or below Chart.js, doesn't matter, as long as the script information is below that, because this or whatever the code would be dependent on this. All right, so we have this here now. We have this, all of this. So what we can do here, now I'll just say here, this will be parse, so JS, and in here we're going to work. But what we're going to do is two things. First of all, we need to create a button. How do we see this? Well, what we want to do is we want to do here upload a Excel or a CSV file. The moment it uploads, we want to confirm the upload with a button. Then eventually we should show some data. So how will we do this? Basically here I'm going to put in here a new input type, and this type is the file type. So we say you have file type, and in this file type I'll give an ID name, and this ID name will be upload file. That's probably the most practical name for it. And then in here what we're going to say is we're going to accept a certain item. So we're going to say here the accept attribute, and the accept attribute will only accept which file? .csv. All right, that's the file we're going to accept. Anything else is not allowed. Very straightforward. So we're assuming that this is the case here. So what we have as well is we're going to have a button, and this button basically upload file, but that's the confirming of it. So I will say this ID will be upload confirm. Very simple. It's a button. Confirm the upload is the ID. The reason why I use this, so we don't get confused, because this here is to only upload the file, but you don't push it yet, or you don't push it through. With this here, then eventually we'll push it through, and we will use now parse for this. So here we have to connect. If we save this right now, all right, ignore that one. We have these buttons here, and if I select this, I'm going to select our bar chart CSV. If I enter this, you can see here, if I click, nothing happens. Why? We didn't set anything up yet. So it's just blank buttons. So now it's time to activate them. So to activate this, we have a few things to do. First of all, we're going to create a new constant here. We say constant. This will be the upload confirm. So basically, this is directly connected to the upload confirm ID. So we say your document get element by ID. And what's the ID name? Well, you guess it. I tend to use this same because the more consistent it is, it's easier to find it in your file. So all right, so we have this. And then we figure out, we will grab this. So we want to grab this button. And the moment, and what we're going to do is we're first going to say, we're going to add event listener, meaning we're going to give it something, a trigger. So the moment we trigger it, how will we trigger it? By a click. At that very moment, I want to trigger a function. So we can use a arrow function here. Very straightforward. So we don't have to make it more complicated, and just all within here. So we say this, and this is the following. When we click this, what we want to do is we want to do the following. We say papa.parse. Basically, we're using now the papa command, papa parse commands. And in papa parse, what we're really doing is we're going to convert now a CSV file up into a JSON file so we'll understand it. Because remember, the Excel file or the CSV file, which is this one here, is a CSV file which is not readable. So parse it, so make it readable for JavaScript by making them JSON variables. All right. Then we say here is the following: document dot get element by ID. And what exactly do we want? Well, we want to grab the file. Where's the file located? Well, simply the file located here in the ID upload file. Remember this input type. What the URL is. So basically we want to grab the URL here. So we're going to grab the URL wherever the URL is located when you click on upload. Then we say here the following, we say dot files. We say we want to grab that file, but we only want array number 0, so the first value in the element of the index. The reason why this is because sometimes you have like upload files, but you have not one file, but you have 2 or 3 files you want to upload at the same time. Remember, then you have like multiple upload buttons. So this here shows only one upload button. We have only one upload button, so that's, and this is an array, the first one in the array. So index 0. So that's the reason why. So alright, we have this one then. So we want to grab the first file, which is index 0 of the files. That's the URL. Alright, and then what we're going to do here is say here comma and then curly braces. And within here, we're going to continue again, and probably we can maybe even move this down here just to make it more organized. And then we're going to use some certain options here. We say here download, we say yes. True. The reason why is basically here. If we go to papa parse, I'm not sure if this is papa parse. Oh, there we are. We have this. If we scroll down here somewhere, you will find in documentation at a certain structure. This is the one we need. We put in the configuration. So basically here we're now working with the configuration. What is the configuration here? Basically this. We have the file link, or this one here, basically here, the URL. Download is true. To confirm it's a download file, because we're going to upload it basically here. We click here, upload the file, we'll upload basically on the browser, then it can read it in the browser. So that's why it's a download true. The next here is, I want to put in a header. And I'll set the header on true. And the reason I'm doing this is because we have this headers here above. So the first line is the header. If you do false, it will not see this as a header. It will just see it as a number here as well, like this. This will be this, and that will be that. And that's not what we want, because we want to have this all connected nicely. And you'll see later on why, and I'll show you then the difference. So header is true. Then I will say here skip. And then we say skip empty lines. And what is skip empty lines? Skip empty lines removes every blank line here. Right now, this is directly downloaded from our database here, where I click here on export. And there is a tiny flaw in here. It automatically adds up here this blank row. And I want to skip this, because if we don't skip this, it will be considered as well as a part of the array. So we say skip empty lines true, comma, once we have this, then we're done. And we can say here now we're complete, and complete, and let papa parse start working. So it will parse it by creating a function. This function it has the parameter of result. That's what we need. We have here the result, so we can just say results because it's plural. That's fine. And in here, we can now start to do the following. Say console.log. And in the console.log, we just want to see if the results are being shown as desired. So we should save this now. Refresh, open up the developer tab. You can see here nothing. Nothing happens here. This is also nothing. We say choose file. I'm going to grab the file here and confirm. And here file upload. Once we click on that, pay attention here what happens. We have here the array, and we have all these arrays nicely matched and cross-matched here. ID is this, revenue is all of these here. So basically it would mean that here data, then we can go down here which data ID number we want, or basically, or not ID number, sorry, the data array number. So for example, data 0, and then here we could get revenue to grab just specifically this one here. So we have this one here, and let me show you exactly why this here becomes important. Let's remove the header. Let's say we're going to say false, meaning that this will be only numbers. So pay attention here now, because you can see this is extremely nicely organized. But if I refresh now, select the chosen file, select this, and click here on upload. Now we have arrays 11 instead of 10. Open up the data, and now you can see this is considered a first array. It doesn't see it anymore as a header, and what happened now is it will see the other items here all as an array as well, everything here as well. And so what happens, you get this. This can be an issue. It doesn't have to be an issue, but it can be an issue because you have to consider the items here, or you have to make an array where you skip the first line here. However, this is basically the way to do it. We have now all of this, so we're almost done here basically with this. Oh, let me put in this one, the false. That will be fun as well. I'm going to put in the false, and you see here this is an empty line here. Pay attention here. The moment I refresh and upload the file again, upload the bar chart.csv, upload this file, we get now 12 arrays instead of 11. Let's open up here. Pay attention. You can see here now the 12 value is just a blank value. So basically it's considered this one. And if I would put in here some enters, you will see now same story. Even with more. Refresh this again. Get this in here. Get this here. Upload. And now we get 14 arrays. So we have a lot of extra data, but then the extra data is just blanks. So this is not what you want. That's why skip the array. We can remove this. You can remove this one, but it's not always practical. Maybe you have just a database and it just doesn't work. You just say skip the array here, true. So it will clean up. It basically cleans up your data. This here header, always put on true unless you have a reason you don't want it to be like that. Maybe your top heading has a different name consistently. In that case, you can set it on false. Refresh here. Let's do this one more time so we get back to original. And then from there on, we will continue. So you can see here, all right, everything works back here. Everything is nicely organized. So now we're done here. What I want to do now is how can we get this data here up? And I realized that maybe the Papa Parse should go up, although it can stay here as well. Doesn't matter so much. Let's put in here semicolon, just to make it clean. But I realized it doesn't matter so much. All right. So what we're going to do now is the following. I want eventually, because that was what was also in the other video of mine, 3 different buttons. If you look at our CSV file, we have a revenue, we have a profit, and we have a cost. We have all these numbers here. So we want these to be all linked to each other nicely. So how will we do this? Make a nice array here, because once we have the array, we can start to connect them with Chart.js. Well, to do this, if we understand how we can grab the specific value, let's show you how to do this. So in here, we say here console.log. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the specific value. It starts with results. Why? Because the function is the result that's being shown here. Then we say here dot. Okay, how does the dot work here? Let's look here at our structure. So this is our starting point of the array, which is basically the results, and then dot, and then we have data. This data consists of multiple arrays. If we want the first value, let's say we want this one here. I want in data array, I want to extract the revenue value. How do we do this? Data 0 revenue. All right. So we say dot data 0 dot revenue semicolon here at the back, and save this. If I refresh now, then I grab the bar chart, CSV, upload the file. You can see here now we extracted the value of 12. Look at this here. If you go here to data, revenue equals 12. Yes, this is correct. All right, so we are now on the right path. So what I want to do now is to loop this. We can loop the same structure on this, and then we're going to push it. To do this, we have to make an array, and I'm going to tell you, and I've been telling this many times, and if you're watching and if you haven't watched it yet, check my Chart.js array series. Understanding everything about arrays is very, very useful for now, because we're going deeper and deeper, and arrays is going to be your #1 companion. All right, so in here we're going to use the arrays. So we're going to put in the following, and that's this. Then we say here constant, and let's call this the revenue data equals, and then all we do here is we're going to make this a blank array. Why blank? We want to push whatever is in here in there. So now what we're going to do in here is the following. I'm going to create here a function, or sorry, not a function, a for loop. I'm going to loop through this, and looping, or basically the I, which means iteration, means repeating yourself multiple times. So iteration, that's an iteration, and a loop is basically doing something multiple times. So iteration equals loop. So this is I. That's why you use an I here for iteration, but you can use anything. An L would be more, I guess an L would make far more sense because you are looping it. And looping is a loop which is consistently doing the same thing. Alright. So now we have here this. Then we say here I loop or iterate this, repeat ourselves consistently as long as results data length. Alright, so I'm going to show you here what I'm talking about here. Well, I'm going to show you here why this is important. Let's do this first. Save this, refresh, select this so you understand here what we're talking about with length. We want to get the length of it, and the length is it's undefined. Of course it's undefined, it's revenue, it's not length, sorry. Save that, refresh, we do it again. What I want to do is I want to grab the length of the value here, 10. Is that correct? Well, yes. If you look here, we have 10 data points itself, excluding the first one, because we exclude the header, remember this. Alright, so we say here for loop, for I equals 0, and then we iterate it, as long we keep on iterating it, as long as result data length is what it is. So that is 10, so that will be keep on looping it as long as I is smaller than 10. And we say I plus plus, so incremental, increasing it with this 1. So once we did this, what we want to do is the following. We want to say the following. We're going to say we're going to get the revenue data. We say dot push. What are we going to push? Well, we're going to push the value that we get here, which is basically this one, except that this will be, instead of 0, it will be an I. So we put in here I. So it will iterate consistently, and I'm going to remove all of this now. It will iterate consistently until it's done looping through this, and we push it then in the revenue data. So if I say here, once we're done here, let's look at the complete. All right, that's here. So in here we can say now console.log, and all I want is to know is the value of the revenue data. Save this and then refresh. Select this now, and do we get our wonderful revenue data here? Upload. There we are. Do we get everything? Is this really true? We can double check that. Let's check at the very last 3 digits, 20, 30, 25. All right, let's look at that order here. If you go revenue, we say 20, 30, 25. All right, so this is exactly as I wanted it. So now we have this. So we can start to combine these things together. What I want to do now is, because this works, I want to make now 2 more. I want not only the revenue, I would like to have the profit and cost as well. So the profit data, and we have the cost data. And here, exactly the same methodology, except now instead of revenue data, we're going to get this one here, and we're going to grab here. This will be the cost data, and this will be cost, and this will be profit. All right, very important. Why I'm using this? So maybe you're not sure why I'm using this. And I can put in here semicolons. That's consistent. The reason why is this. I'm using these terms here. If you do not have this here, we cannot use this. Maybe you have product ABC, then you grab and put here product ABC. It makes sense. All right. So this is why, this is the one thing that I warn you. If you're using this, this must be very consistent. If this is not consistent, I'm going to suggest to you to use header false here, and you do this one instead of I is 0, you do I is 1. What will happen? It will grab basically everything from here. So let me show you. If I save this right now, oh, I cannot even use this here, but it will start to grab that one. Yeah, that's all right. So it will start to grab this, but of course this will be slightly different here. But I will show you that maybe later on. But this is really, really important to understand. All right, we've got this now. We are very close to completion. We have all of this. Let's console log all of these here. I want to grab the profit data. I want to grab the cost data and show me if the result is as I desire or as I expect. Open this, upload file. We have 3 different arrays. Oh, we get not undefined. So I have to double check why. Of course, we have our headers false. So this should be in true. The reason why this, of course, is not anymore allowed. Here, probably we need to put in the 0 or a number. And this, or here should be 0. If I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere that I have in my notes, but I will just ignore it for now. It's not important in this case of the video. If you do want to know, please put in the comment section below. If you want to give me suggestions or if you're asking for that, no problem. Upload file. This is the one we want. I just want to extract the data here. We get all of these. Let's look at the very last 3 digits of this one. I think this is the profit, and this one is our cost. So our profit is 15, 22, 15, and the cost item is 5, 8, and 10. Let's double check here in our list. 15, 22, 15, that is the profit, all right. And then the last one, which was the cost related, is 5, 8, 10. All right, we're getting very, very close now. So what we're going to do now is basically create a function, and this function will have the buttons, and these buttons will update it based on when we click on it, we grab it, and we put in here the values. So we're going to say here function, and in this function I'll just call it update chart. Very straightforward. And here we're going to use eventually a label. I want to use a label here, or a parameter. Sorry, this is a parameter, and the parameter will be a label. And how will we do this? Well, basically like this. I'm going to save that first, and then I'm going to put in here 3 different buttons. Put it here a line, and then we're going to make here buttons. And the buttons will not have an ID, but they will have a nice on-click effect or on-click function. So on-click, and then we say here update chart. Why update chart? If you wonder, this here is directly matched with this. So the moment we click on it, we want to update the chart. And then we want to grab the label here. I'm going to be very straightforward here. I'm going to grab the items we have here, the constant of the revenue, profit, and cost. I'm going to do some tricks later on, so just pay attention here because this will only work with a trick. Alright, so I'm going to put it in here. Alright, grab this. And I put it in here, and another one here. This will be profit. And this will be cost. So we say here, we can say here, show cost, show profit, and show revenue. Alright, so we've got all of this now. If I save this, refresh, then press on this, nothing happens yet. Why? First of all, we didn't even upload the data, but secondly, we didn't even connect a function in here. So the only thing that probably works here is this. Let's say here, console.log, and now I just echo out the label, save this. Refresh, if I press on this, you can see here revenue data. Alright. So what I want to do now is basically the following. The moment I click on revenue data here, after the upload, once we upload the file, of course, then we click on this, we should show here everything. So what we're going to do here is the following. We're going to say here, we have the label here, alright, this works. So we say here, and let's see, we're going to say this. We say here my chart. Dot. Because we're going to reassign basically this one here. We need to reassign this. To do this, in the new structure, it's exactly the same as previously. The only thing is that we are going, this has basically a here I can't say even what kind of structure. It's like an upside down structure. Normally it starts from up and then goes down, but now it's like I'm not sure if top. It's basically a top down or down or bottom up. I guess it goes from the bottom and it goes up here. However, I'm not sure if that's the right term, but this here is dependent on this, and this here as a variable is dependent on that. But the structure itself is the same. We say here from my chart, and then we're going to figure out where's the data. We go here to config. We don't see it yet. We have to go data. All right, in the data, we want to go to data sets, and then here data. All right, very important here. So in my chart, and then we say here the following. We have here my chart, and let me think what we can do here now. That is, of course, the data. Sorry, I'm just also thinking data sets, and this one is 0. Why 0? We only have one single data set here. We could add more, but in this case, I'll maintain this. Dot data equal, and then you might say, oh, okay, I know what we need to do. We just need to equal label. This will not work, by the way. I will show you why, and I'll show you also the solution. So then we say, of course, here the function update my chart, and here as well. All right, semicolons there. So if we click on this, we hope to update this, and then let's check here. So once we do this, we select first, because right now if you do this, all right, that doesn't even work, although you get also these errors. And even if you do this, this won't work as well, because you will still get errors even if you have the data here. The reason why it doesn't work, it sees the value now, the data, as label, and this label is now considered a string. It's not, you might say, well, I have the label here, but if I do this here, doesn't it sees it like a constant? No, this is not the case. But there's a trick. It's called template literals. We're going to use backticks. All right, remember backticks it's not the same as single quotations. Pay attention. Your backticks is on your keyboard close to the number 1. All right, these are the backticks. In the backticks, we're going to use this. This is template literals, $, and then we say, I want to convert this label. This looks like a string, but I want to convert it into a constant. Very important here. All right, once we do this, then we save that. You will see it will work now nicely. Well, that's what I expect. So update this, and then we select this. Oh, all right, so let's see what's going on. Did I miss something here or misinterpret something? Update labels. Did I match the item here? Yeah, that's all matching. All right, so let me double check what's going on. All right, so sadly, I don't know exactly what happened. I thought I already had this fixed, but somehow it doesn't work. So sorry about that. So we cannot use these object literals for now. I will do some research on it and eventually make maybe a separate video regarding to this. However, so what I will do is I will change this then. This is a pity, but fair enough. So we can do another way to do it. So we're going to create an if statement. Basically if, let me say here label equal what exactly? Well, if it's equals the revenue data, if that's the case, then I will say this is that revenue data here. This is our constant. So I thought it would convert it into a constant, but for some reason it just doesn't work. But let's continue on. I don't want to spoil the fun of completing this. So we have this now. We have here the, this would be the profit data. Finally, here will be the cost data, and this is equal to that. That one is equal to this. And once we have this, what I still want to do here, of course, is the next one would be, well, we can save this first. Let's double check if this works nicely. Save that, refresh, and now if I click on that, nothing works, of course. Makes sense because we didn't upload it yet. Upload this, and now if you click on it, there we are. So we grab our values here nicely. As you can see, remember this was 12, so there it is. So we're not done yet, because look, we have added this here, but what about this here, the votes, number of votes? We want to change this as well. How do we change this? Well, we just grab the label itself here, which is also in the data set, which makes it very convenient. So data sets, number 0, of course, for the index, and then label. So in here, all we're going to do here is the following. We're going to just grab this all. They say here dot label equals the label value, which was already these values in the string format. So save this, refresh, choose this, select that, there we are, upload file, show revenue. Alright, there we are, and there we are, and there we are. So there we are. So we have this, and maybe you want to change this. We say, wait a minute, there are 10 data points here. Why we only have 6 here? You're right. Let's change this as well. What we could do is the following. I would say here, right now with the ID, I will just grab the ID numbers here, and you could change this to something else as well for the labels. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'll say here, I'll call this the labels. And why labels? Because it's a multiple item, it's a plural basically, and it's called here labels as well. So we're going to overrule this one. Alright. To do this, of course, we need to push the labels, and this we say push labels. And then here, of course, we're going to create a new constant. Call this labels. Very straightforward. Push that. We can even do a console log for labels, but this will be just very straightforward. But later on we can maybe change some names of it. And then all we want to do here is the following. I'm going to grab all of this, put in here, and what are we going to adjust? Well, straightforward. We're going to go back here and we say here data, and then we go to labels equals the new labels. So this it's labels, and then we say equal labels with an S, which is of course our item here. So if you do this and save this, you will see that now eventually everything starts to change. Grab this, update, upload file. Alright, what happened here? Why is this unidentified? Did I miss something? Labels push, labels. Let's double check. Results. Oh, of course. Why is it wrong? Do you figure it out? Well, let's look at the data here. We can look here. Sorry. I have to pay attention here. It's called ID here, not labels. ID. So, but it is an array of labels for us right now. So now refresh. Grab the file again. Upload the file. We have all of this. Now you can see all the numbers here. You say show revenue, bam, there you are. And then we say show profits, there we are, and there we are. So now we have, and you could basically upload another file, put it in, and play around with this consistently. And what would happen now, let's say what would happen if we would change this. And I'll say this one, we've done 11, but this will be total. Total, and this will be, let's say 100, 100, 100. Save this. Refresh here. And oh, yeah, we just refresh. Grab this in here. Open up, upload the file. Alright, it shows now everything. It shows you total. Then you, bam, there we are, and there we are, and there we are. So this is really a way how you can create eventually your own system. Basically, offline, instantly upload your file every time you download it from your database or so from your Excel. You upload it through here, and you can play around with it. And this is really fun. This is a very, very advanced item. So make sure if you don't understand, try to check it again, because this is a quite complicated one. So, but if you do have questions, put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course, where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.